Hello. We're here to talk about a very serious crisis affecting all of humanity, especially here in America. We tend to be a little bit ahead of the curve when it comes to what the rest of the world is doing. So we're the first to be afflicted by mental health as a crisis. This is a real problem today, and thank God for once we are actually addressing it as a whole. That's what we're going to talk about today. But before I get into that, I really want to share a quick story with you that my mentor shared with me. It comes from anthropology studies, and basically in primitive tribes, what takes place as a way of managing mental health within the tribe is that if anybody were to have a horrible nightmare, a nightmare that would be like a bad omen of what's to come, this would be brought to everybody's attention immediately by the shaman. They would gather in an emergency kind of meeting to address the issue because they were aware that it was the collective consciousness that needed to be addressed, not that individual that so happened to have the nightmare. So the whole tribe would get together and they would clear the air. They would get clear about what it represented and basically make peace with that possibility. That's how they handle it. We as a society need to adopt that viewpoint and look at mental health as a collective consciousness issue. Yes, there's individuals out there that are predisposed to having less mental health or more susceptible to the corruption of whatever leads to poor mental health. But at the end of the day, they are a representative of us. So right here, I'm just pointing out point blank, if you're watching this video, you are responsible for what you see out in the world. So if you're one of those hypocrites that dares to exclaim, I have no mental health issues, I'm fine, he's crazy, she's crazy, then you're being a hypocrite. Stop it. Start taking personal responsibility for what you're seeing in the world as part of your creation. Taking responsibility is an empowering act. Anyway, back to this. Let me close that down. Down at the below. Really addressing mental health as a whole is a welcome sight that is long overdue. But is the solution another pill? I don't know about you, but if you watch any TV at all, I would say probably 3 out of 4 ads are pharmaceutical ads trying to sell us yet another pill. The audacity of Big Pharma knows no bounds. Now they're trying to sell pills to counter the side effects of other pills they sold. What are they going to do after that? Sell pills to counteract the effects of the pill that you took to counteract the effects of the original pill? This is a slippery slope. And we need to stop and assess that maybe medication isn't the end-all be-all that they want us to believe it is. It's got its value just like everything in life. But when you lean too heavy into one thing, you're going to get in trouble. Guaranteed. If you're too positive, if you're too negative, if you're too skeptical, if you're too trusting, moderation. The middle path is what the Buddha taught. That is our greatest gift from Buddhism, is seek the middle path in life. Goldilocks is a story of seeking the middle path in life. Welcome, and let's get into it. It's not the title. I meant for that to be a crawler. Let me crawl it. Let's explore what's behind our current mental health crisis that may surprise you from an esoteric perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, esoteric is not accepted by the church. It is not the status quo. It's not the norm when it comes to religion. But I believe, and there's a lot of people that believe, that Jesus Christ he was on the cutting edge back then, and he was an esoteric teacher of truth. And basically, the mysteries of life is what he not necessarily solved for us, but brought our attention to. He was called the way shower, and he spoke the gospel as a means to inspire us as human beings to follow his path. This is not a religious indoctrination video, in case you're fearful and wanting to scroll away. I'm just pointing this out because it's related to esoteric versus exoteric. Exoteric would be the status quo. That would be big pharma. That would be the science that they're trying to hawk on us these days. That's not really science, by the way. It's propaganda wrapped up in a science bow. Let me turn that around so I can be reading and looking. Nothing is at last sacred but the integrity of your own mind. Misalignment is the cause of all suffering. If you caught my last video, that's what I alluded to there. If you would like a link to that last video, reach out to me, send me a message. I'm happy to share that with you. Misalignment is the cause of all suffering. Here are 3 things to do about it. That's what my post-it notes are up here, up there in the corner. Don't look over there. Don't look over there yet. We haven't got there yet. No. Moving on. I'm going to ask you that anytime you gain value during this video, please let me know by dropping a hashtag found fun down below so I know what to deliver in the future. I need feedback from you guys as viewers. What is it that resonates with you? What adds value to your life experience? That's what I'm here for. I'm not here for vanity or to stroke my own ego and be on camera and just show off. I don't really have an interest in that anymore. It's definitely a phase of life to go through. If you haven't developed your ego, don't be afraid to do that. It will burn itself out eventually. Ideally, you'll transcend that next level. After that, it tends to be the mind. Lots of thinking, and the mind is the end-all be-all. And then after that, you're into the heart space and beyond. Enlightenment. Exciting, huh? So let me know down below. And if I get engagement from you, trust me, I do not take that for granted. I will definitely reach out to you to let you know how much I appreciate that. Not sure exactly how I might do that. It might be with a special gift, but we'll see. I do appreciate it though. The more feedback, the better. I'm not a big giant corporation like Apple, which I'm contending with today or daily, that doesn't really care about customer feedback and just wants to assert how amazing and how perfect and how flawless they are. That's what happens when we get really, really big. You can almost look at corporations also go through that same evolutionary process that humans go through. So Apple's kind of stuck in the ego phase, thinking they're thinking they're hot shit on a silver platter. Is that it? Yeah, thinking they're hot shit on a silver platter, but really they're just a cold turd in a paper bag. I love that saying. I knew I'd work it in here somewhere. How's everybody doing out there? Let me hear from you. I love to see comments and I love to hear what's going on in your world. please show your support by liking, following, and sharing. You know the drill. I have a profile that you can follow, and you can friend me too if you want. If we have something in common, I will definitely accept that friend request. I only get 5,000, so I have to be very discerning about who I choose to be my friend. So don't come at me with a pitch right off the bat. I won't accept your friend request. I want to know who I'm friends with. Sounds crazy, but there's a lot of people that just send friend requests and accept friend requests without a second thought. It's weird. Not me. I'm very deliberate in my life, and that's my goal for every one of my clients, is learning to live deliberately from a present moment perspective. Share this with anybody you know that has issues around mental health. And ideally, it's not too extreme, because we got to always do our legal disclaimers, because this isn't a world built on personal responsibility. It's actually a world built on, well, it's a litigious society, right? Everybody's suing everybody. Everybody's avoiding responsibility with their disclaimers and their fine print user agreements and everything else, right? So here's my disclaimer, just for the legal side of things, which is I am not a mental health professional, licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, like they know everything. I'm just a human with a lot of life experience from a present moment perspective. And I'm here to share my experience with you, to inspire you to discover your own perspective in life, your own viewpoint in life, and to clarify it, because you're here to do something special. And as long as you're caught up in struggling and suffering, you're not being your highest and best. And all of us, all of humanity, loses out when you don't show up. So remember that. Showing up is a little bit about yourself and a lot about the world at large. It's a duty, a responsibility. It's a calling. Moving on. Keeping pace. As a thank you to those who have attended, I'm giving away a free complimentary firsthand experience of a present moment perspective where stress and struggle melt away effortlessly. It's where you find the best mental health you can ever imagine. It's actually a $350 value, but because you're here today and you're helping my reach and you're helping with my engagement and you're helping getting the word out, I'm going to return that favor. I believe in the law of fair exchange, that you get what you give and you give what you get. Simple from here, complicated from here. Do you want to know how this works? How it is you yourself can get a complimentary free experience, firsthand experience of a present moment perspective? Well, then let me go through that real quick so you understand how it works. It's all designed, to get more engagement on this post, because I'm on Facebook, no matter how much I despise Facebook, and they have an algorithm, and this algorithm manipulates our attention, and it directs it in places that maybe we don't want it to go, but Facebook wants it to go, like paid ads. And in this point, in order to increase the engagement on my video, I need to get as many people watching it, as many people commenting on it, and boosting up that algorithm so that more people see it. So you will be an asset to me by participating in this. And on top of that, you're going to gain a free taste of a present moment perspective. So how does it work? Well, it's been scrolling down below as I've been talking away, but let's go through it together. Just follow along down below here. And I'm going to read off the screen so I don't mess it up. Here's how it works to win. Drop a present down below. When I see it, I will reply with moment down below. Then all you have to do is reply with perspective down below. To receive from me, to receive a message from me with the details, I'm all about creating win-wins, right? That's the law of fair exchange. Give and take. If I provide value for you today, then why not go farther? So I'm looking forward to seeing all those presents. You're going to give me some presents? All those presents down below. And look out for my reply to your present with moment. And then just simply reply with perspective. Present, moment, perspective. Got it? Let me know. If it's confusing, I will clarify it for you for sure. Welcome to the Found Fun Discovery Method. That is the umbrella of my program. And it all starts with a present moment perspective. Well, technically before that, it starts with personal responsibility. I create my reality. From the acknowledgement of I'm responsible, I create my reality, personal responsibility emerges. And that's really the foundation. On top of that, we build a present moment perspective. Who am I? You want to know who I am? Well, sure, I will be happy to share. Except I need to scroll so that you can see who am I? Who am I? Darn it. It's just so whatever. I am Morpheus to your Neo. All I am offering is the truth, nothing more. If you have a feeling that you are destined for greatness, just like Neo was in the Matrix, if you have a hunch that you might be the one, then we need to talk, because that calling is coming from a higher place, and it behooves you to listen to that calling, to honor that calling, and respect that calling. It means you are destined to do great things, and ideally we get that done in this lifetime. And all of us benefit from whatever it is your life purpose is in life. I support diehard experts and entrepreneurs committed to improving our world for everyone's benefit, to be even more effective by introducing them to a present moment perspective so they can discover more focus, clarity, presence, joy, and well-being than they ever imagined possible, without getting caught up and discouraged by the familiar struggles, curveballs, exhausting efforts, or unexpected delays that haunt most unaware people's lives every day. I do this using firsthand experience and my proprietary new spotting technique as part of the Found Fun Discovery Method via intense, one-on-one structured regular sessions over the phone and or Zoom. That's me, Morpheus in a nutshell. By Morpheus. Big old head. It's just so interesting that it's so big on the screen. Like, I wish it was smaller. That's why I got to throw stuff up there so I don't have such a big old head. Here, I'll throw this up. Check it out. Foundations of fundamentals. That's where I got found fun from. When you build a foundation of fundamentals in your life, no matter what the subject area is, it frees your creativity up. And all that's left is having fun because you're not stressed out about doing things the right way or the wrong way. You understand the fundamentals, you understand what's important underneath that. So start today building your foundation of fundamentals. Whatever you are an expert in, whatever you're an entrepreneur pursuing, take the time to get in touch with those fundamentals. I can help you do that. It helps to have a present moment perspective, which leads to self-awareness so that you can be able to clearly see what those fundamentals are. They're not obvious usually. I mean, they are to experts. That's why we call them experts. They have a lot of life experience in that subject matter. Hence, experts. So don't get caught up in, oh, I'm not going to call myself an expert. Why not? Our world reveres experts, respects experts. And just because you don't have some third-party certification, you're not going to give yourself the amazing gift of being an expert at something in life. Do it. It's good for you. Moving on. That's $22 minutes in, and we haven't even got to the juicy stuff yet. I hope you're still hanging on there because we're about to get into it. I see you over there. Hi, nice to have you joining me today. Let me know if you have any comment or any questions. Drop them down below. All right. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're watching from. Again, down below, scrolling on the screen. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're watching from and what your expertise is in. I like to be a matchmaker. I like to connect people. You never know who you might meet through my posts or through this live video. So drop it down below. Where are you from and what do you feel like you're an expert in? What is your expertise in? I will follow up with you for sure. Also, if you're watching the replay, I'd appreciate knowing that by dropping a hashtag replay down below, and that will alert me to circle back around and touch base with you to make sure that you got whatever questions you came to this video with answered. I want to make sure that every single person that devotes their attention, time and attention into watching this video gains from that investment. That's my commitment to you. How we doing out there? Having fun? Being an expert or entrepreneur? Making a real difference in our world isn't for the faint of heart. Having good mental health is essential. Without it, life is all the more difficult for us. Wouldn't you agree? Mental health is kind of an essential asset to have so that we can function optimally in life, be more effective, create better results. There's a lot of value in becoming aware of your mental state. People call it mindset. That works too. Basically, what's going on up here? What's going on up here in the funny farm, in the laugh factory, in Crazy Town? If that doesn't make sense, I promise you one day it will. When you live from here, this thing becomes secondary at best, like a calculator that you use every now and then. So let's dive in. Let's dive in. Okay. Where's my title? Oh, Lordy Lord. I wish it was easier. Easier. All right, I'm going to leave that scrolling, or is that like a distraction? It might be a little bit of a distraction, especially since I just noticed that the snake thing on the bottom moves in the opposite direction. That could get you dizzy almost. So bottom line, remember, the whole point here today is let's explore what's behind our current mental health crisis that may surprise you from an esoteric perspective. And like I said earlier, this is 3. Let me just find it so that I don't misspeak what I intended to speak. Three things. Here's 3 things to do about it. Misalignment is the #1 cause of suffering. I'll show that real quick. Yes, perfect. This one doesn't scroll and make a big old confusing mess of my screen. Misalignment is the cause of all suffering. Here are 3 things to do about it. Ready? Here we go. Numero uno. #1. Duh. Adopt a present moment perspective. This is why I do what I do. I am on fire about introducing people to living and operating from a present moment perspective. It's a state of being that is sublime, and it is beyond all comprehension of this thing up here. I like to say that self-awareness is not what you think. Well, the present moment is not what you think either. So #1, adopt a present moment perspective. This will help with your mental health in many, many ways. It will begin the healing process of releasing stored traumas in your body that have been there for, depending on what you believe, lifetimes. But definitely throughout this lifetime, you've been accumulating baggage, skeletons in your closet. Things have happened throughout your life that leave an imprint on your soul. And if you do not address those opportunities to grow, they fester, they become infected, and they lead to dis-ease. Am I getting through to you yet at the practical, essential value of a present moment perspective? Starts the healing process. What else? It helps you disidentify with what is causing the suffering. Like it says on the screen, misalignment is the cause of all suffering. And when we pop out of ourselves and into the present moment, we leave behind that struggle, that suffering, that misalignment that innately exists within us as a result of living in a relative universe where duality is a natural law. You cannot get around it. And I love to piss off those people that think non-binary is something that you can really have. Eventually, yes, you can. You can transcend duality, but you don't transcend duality by denying reality. Doesn't work that way. You can't say, okay, I'm not going to look at night ever again, and it's just going to be daytime all the time. No, doesn't work. Nighttime and daytime are in a relationship together. Masculine and feminine are in a relationship together. Notice what I said, masculine and feminine. I didn't say male and female, because that's the biggest confusion that people hit up against. Within every Are we back? Are we back? Jeez. That was bizarre. That has never happened before. My camera just literally went out. I'm back though. So let's wrap this thing up in case there's another outage. I have Xfinity internet, the worst internet ever. It is completely inconsistent. Again, another one of those big corporations that I've tried to provide feedback to, and they just don't want to hear it. It seems to be like a private matter, whatever flaws they're fixing or working on. And they definitely never own up to it either. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We are back to a present moment perspective and the practical benefits of it, right? The healing process I already mentioned. There's the disidentifying with that innate misalignment that is happening inside of us. Let me show you something real quick here. So you understand misalignment. It's most often understood through a mechanical viewpoint, right? You have the gears moving. Let me see if I can do that. Yeah, you have the gears moving, right? And so if they're off, if they're misaligned, like the clutch on your manual transmission, if they even still have those anymore. If you've ever drove a stick shift, then you're very familiar with how misalignment sounds and also how it feels too, because it's pretty grinding on you when it happens. So misalignment, right? You want to understand that better as it pertains to us as human beings on a fundamental level. Let's look at that. What in the heck? Oh yeah, it's an animation. But again, which is where am I? There I am. Perfect. Look at that. That's exactly what I wanted. There's so much technical going on behind the scenes on this stuff. You understand why there's an army at a TV station, because there's just so many little things that need to be handled. And as a solopreneur like me, there's a lot to do. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and give you my sob story. Let's talk about misalignment as the cause of all suffering as it pertains to mental health. And here's 3 things to do about it. We're on number 1, which is adopt a present moment perspective. So one of the greatest things about that is to disidentify with the conflict taking place inside of us. That is the misalignment that leads to the suffering that leads to poor mental health. Got that? It's like layers, right? Boom, boom, boom. Compounding problems. And then you get a school shooting out of the blue in a very affluent community that would be the last place you would expect for something like that to happen. By a child, the last person you would expect to have violent tendencies, right? This is the kind of stuff, folks, when it comes to mental health, that we need to be discussing candidly. We don't need to be talking about gun control. That's just so moronic when it comes to what's the cause here? What's the real issue that we are struggling with? It's not the weapons, it's who's holding the weapons. That's what we need to look at. I don't fear a nuclear bomb. I fear who's holding it. I don't know about you, but I'm sure you're on the same page with me about that. So from a present moment perspective, you can become aware of this process happening inside of you, where what I desire, let me see if I do this and then I pause it. Boom. Right there. Perfect. What I desire, what I believe. These 2 things need to be aligned, congruent. If they're not, you've got what I desire and what I believe over here. I desire to be a popular kid in school. I believe popular kids need to be, you know what. I got to be careful. Remember, we don't live in a free society anymore where freedom of speech is not only tolerated, but for crying out loud, it's raised up on a pedestal. Please speak your mind. Tell us how you feel. Tell us what you think. We want to hear it. Nope, not anymore. We got Silicon Valley running the world now, and their little Nazi, fascist community policies that just basically it's censorship, straight up censorship. I got to do this. I love my tangents. Bear with me. I just found out. You've heard of Chat GPT? Well, guess what? It's got its own form of censorship built in as well. Surprise, surprise. Coming out of Silicon Valley, I would have never expected that. Yeah, look into it. It's kind of frightening. Of course, you basically, to understand how censorship works, you have to get into the world of those being censored. Right now, what's being censored is conservative viewpoints. That's what's being censored. What's not being censored at all are ultra liberal viewpoints. Crazy stuff. That I grew up in California, and I prided myself on being liberal. But what's happening today is absolutely bonkers. Straight up bonkers. There's no other way to describe it. We really need a return to some conservative values, because that's the foundation. That's what you want to build your liberal society on, is a conservative foundation of the Bill of Rights. That's conserving our rights built into our Constitution, right? Conservative. Life is precious. It's valuable. And I'm not going to go off here on an abortion tangent, because that's not what I'm talking about. In fact, that whole thing is full of hypocrisy, right? Some of the people that are talking about right to life don't oppose war. How does that make sense? If you what's their slogan? I can't even keep track, even though they're super dumbed down, simple slogans. Freedom of choice and right to life. Is that what the two major camps are that have us divided and forcing us to pick a side? I'm going to pick the side of humanity. I'm going to pick the side of my neighbor. I'm going to pick the side of we the people. I will never pick the side of big corporations. I will never pick the side of biased liberal media. I will never pick the side of a corrupt federal government. Never, ever, ever. I pick the side of we, us. And that's what we all need to do. Anyway, back on track after that crazy tangent. Let me get rid of this. Do you understand misalignment now and how it pertains to our mental health? Good. I can hide that, or I can put it back. Let me leave it up there so you can see it. Okay. Number 1, adopt a present moment perspective. Moving on. Number 2, self-care is an inside job. 2. I said 2 because yes, self-care can be external as well. Hey, go to the spa, take a vacation, take a nap. All that stuff is self-care. Feed yourself really good food. Give yourself some quality time. Try to not have blaring sun on you. How's that? Well, now I got the bars. Oh well, deal with it. I'm on purpose here. Self-care is an inside job too. In other words, this thing needs maintenance. This thing needs nourishment. This thing needs nurturing. When it comes to getting sick, having a cold, that more often than not tends to be a indication of a misalignment inside of you that needs to be healed. So what will happen is the body will overreact, put you into a funky state with all sorts of funky symptoms that Big Pharma has the solution. I'm going to cure you of your symptoms. Forget the root cause. We don't want to actually cure anything because then we can't make money off of it. So here's your NyQuil, here's your Tylenol, here's your whatever, instead of being present with what's going on in your body, mind. Everything that you feel in your body serves a purpose. It's meant to, geez, this sun is unbelievable. Geez, this sun is unbelievable. Self-care is an inside job. Meditation is a great form of self-care. Just sitting and being present with yourself. Hands on your heart. Just take a nice deep breath and relax. Being here now means being here now. That is a present moment perspective. Instead of being in a perpetual state of doing, going somewhere. I'm going here, I'm going there all day long. Oh my gosh, I got to do this, got to do that, got to do this, got to do that. There's no peace of mind. There's no rest. Yeah. Got it? Self-care is an inside job. All that heartbreak that was never felt festers and just adds to our suffering. Number 3. You know what? I'm going to keep these all on view. I don't know why I cover them up. They're all good to see, yeah? Get out of the way, snake. That thing moving around the outside, that's called the snake. I guess it's supposed to keep you engaged, like a cat toy. I laugh at what we do to ourselves as human beings. We're treated like animals by big business. We're with a Pavlovian reaction is what they're looking for. Number 3, back on track. When it comes to that misalignment, that is the source of poor mental health. Number 3 is the mind fights, the heart loves. So what do you get from that? Number 3. What I would like for you to get from number 3 is that the best place to reside is in your heart, not your head. Your head is full of conflict. You have a right and a left sphere, and they're battling it out, trying to create some sort of alignment and equanimity. The heart is singular. It is really one of the few organs. You got the liver. That's a singular organ as well. But the heart, well, yeah, all that stuff, the stomach, I guess, all that. The heart is singular. It's not dual in nature. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 kidneys, 2 balls, 2 breasts. Everything's dual. You can't get around it. 2 nostrils, 2 eyebrows, 2 sets of teeth. I go on and on. Yeah, when you're caught in duality, when you're stuck in duality, you're just going to be fighting yourself. And it's about transcending that, learning to live from the heart. That is super, super important. Moving on. Want a bonus? Who wants a bonus? Yeah? Well, this bonus is brought to you by Elohim and the Torah and the Old Testament. Did you know there were 2 trees in the Garden of Eden? I find that apparently Jewish people are taught this more so than Christians, which is a little disconcerting because it is super important when it comes to understanding mental health. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put this. All right, you understand the mind versus the heart. We'll just put it over there. Oh, the heck with it. I'm just going to put them all back up there so that they're out of the way because I need to show you a few things. Such as, let's see. Now when I hide this, that moves me where? Into a big giant screen with my giant nose. All right, here it is. Yes, no. There we go. I got it. Feels so good when you create what you want in life, doesn't it? All right. Did you know the Garden of Eden had 2 trees? This is a mind-blowing thing to realize because it is our story, our mythology. It's very universal, believe it or not. The creation story in the Bible, in the Old Testament, in the Torah, predates all of it. I think it comes from maybe the Sumerian civilization. I don't know, even before then. They've discovered, the similarities between cultures that supposedly never communicated on this planet, and how their origin stories are all so similar. A lot of them have water in them. A lot of them talk about a challenge or a test that humanity had to face, just like in the Garden of Eden. And that's the point that I want to make. Because remember, this is not a religious sermon. I'm the last thing that the church wants anything to do with. I'm more like Jesus Christ in the sense that I came here to turn mother against daughter, father against son, brother against brother. I came to bring the truth and break the game. I came to rock the boat. And that's what Jesus did. He came to rock the boat. He upset so many people they wanted to actually crucify him. That's how you know you're doing something worthwhile in life, is the heat that you catch for it. If you look at it, it's just so fascinating. I was watching another tangent. Here we go. Apple TV has this wonderful program. It's called Watch the Sound with Mark Ronson. And it really dives deep into the fundamentals of music, which I really don't know anything about. So I was just beyond fascinated with what goes on behind the scenes of making music and the origin stories of that, just like our own origin story that shows up in the Garden of Eden in Genesis. But on this show, Watch the Sound with Mark Ronson, it's amazing how he would go over different innovations in music, like drum machines, auto tunes. I hate auto tunes, and I hate people that sing using auto tunes. Nobody wants to hear your whatever that sound is. I can't even duplicate it. So basically, he goes over different innovations in music, like auto tunes, drum machines, reverb, synthesizers. Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest innovations in the music world, was synthesizers, because until then it was just musical instruments. So imagine a dude showing up on the scene with, you got to check this out, man. This is my new deck right here. I'm gonna do a whole song right here. All the instruments you ever need are right here on this synthesizer. The 80s are nothing but synthesizer music. That's why it's so iconic. It's amazing what comes out of this stuff. Anyway, in the episode talking about synthesizers, he interviews the very first musician to ever use synthesizers in the recording of commercial music. What was his name? I don't know. Was it Kraftwerks, maybe? Or is somebody before Kraftwerks that used a synthesizer? Anyway, he's sharing his story of how he was the first one to introduce that to the music world. And the blowback from everybody from Rolling Stone to you name it, we're all like, there goes music. That's the end of music as we know it. This is going to destroy everything. I think he might even got death threats, believe it or not. But yes, the first person to introduce something into society and innovate often gets the brunt of the resistance. Excuse me. Had a burrito for lunch and it seems to not want to stay down. Hey, I don't hold back. I'm going to let you know who I am, including what I had for lunch, whether you like it or not. So can you imagine being an innovator like that and introducing something to society? I go through it all the time because I'm basically innovating the way we operate as human beings. And for the most part, people are like, huh? What are you talking about? Is that something mental? No, it's not something mental. It's beyond the mind. That's where we want to go, is beyond the mind. If you're somebody that wants to go beyond the mind, get in touch with me ASAP. Send me a message. Let me know. I am ready and willing. Okay, back to 2 trees in the Garden of Eden. Okay, and you don't really even need to know Genesis or the whole story, although most of us have an inkling because it's our origin. Well, Western societies, Western civilization's origin story, Judeo-Christian, yada yada, origin story is the story of Garden of Eden. And basically, the point to make is that Adam and Eve were representative of our free will in life. They were given a choice between these 2 trees. And basically, we're told you can have all you want off of this tree of life and enjoy it. Have a feast. But this tree over here, the tree of knowledge. Oh, look, I'm pointing at it too. This one right here. I give up. It's like driving a boat, like with an outboard motor. If you've ever done that, the very beginning of driving a boat with an outboard motor is super confusing because to go left, you turn right. To go right, you turn left. It's opposite, just like here in the camera. Okay, so over here, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. You can take off the last part of it. It's basically the tree of knowledge or the tree of life, which is over there too. Way over there. These were the 2 trees in the Garden of Eden. And of course, the story goes that the serpent or whatever tempted Eve to take a bite of the apple of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The tree that God said, don't touch. You don't want any of that. That fruit is sour and you just don't want it. Stay away. Stick with the tree of life. Enjoy that. It's got everything you want. Of course, humans in their insatiable curiosity ended up taking a bite of the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Let's break this down piece by piece here. We're talking about mental health. The mind has 2 lobes, the left and the right. We have the feminine and the masculine, creative and what is it? Analytical, I think. Yes. So here on the top, on the shoulders, on the top of your head is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. What is good and evil? See, this is the stuff. I wish I could be the Pope, because I would turn the whole thing around. It needs to totally be revamped so that the true gospel gets out there. What is good and evil? Jesus alluded to this. You got to pay attention, and you got to not take it at face value either. It's all parables that were designed to hide the truth from those that didn't have eyes to see or ears to hear. So when Jesus said, "Judge not, lest ye be judged," he's alluding to what good and evil are. They're judgments. And that's what the mind does. It judges everything. Pay attention to your mind. Notice how it's like, I like that, I don't like that. I like that, I don't like that. I like that, I don't like that. That's good, that's evil, that's good, that's evil, that's good, that's evil. Right? So here's your tree of knowledge. You want to keep eating from the fruit of the tree of knowledge, good and evil, because you see where it's gotten us thus far? Nope. Okay. Well, then what's left? The tree of life. Where do you think the tree of life exists? If our body mind is a reflection of the universe, which it is. Yep. Right here. The tree of life is the heart. Where do you feel God? Where do you know God? In your heart. That's why we pray like this. That's why you do this when you create intentions. That's why when we talk about things like love, the symbol for love is not a brain. The symbol for love is a heart. Because even on an unconscious level, or subconscious level, I should say, we understand these truths to be self-evident. Love comes from your heart. It doesn't come from your head. Lust comes from your head. Just kidding. All right, so 2 trees right there. Pick wisely which tree you want to eat the fruit from when it comes to mental health. That's your bonus. Woo! All right, what else do I got here? What else do I have for you? Well, if you're just joining, remember I am giving away a free taste of a present moment perspective. $350 value. All you have to do is drop a present down below, and then I will drop a moment to which you will reply perspective. Present moment perspective. Boom. And the first 3 present moment perspective. The first 3 people that complete that phrase will win. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Unless, of course, you're a know-it-all, which there are lots of people that live from their heads that are know-it-alls, that think they know what the present moment is, that think they know what love is, that they think they know what God is, that they think they know how to do something, or that they think they know whatever. You get the point. If I keep going, I just get a headache at a certain point. It is not a fun place to live in the head. Not at all, by any means. And if you haven't had an experience of what it's like to live from a present moment perspective, allows us to connect to our heart. That's the value of a present moment perspective. Then you can contrast living from here and living from here. But start with contrasting living from in here, in the box, in the brain box, to living out here in the present moment. That's the first contrast you want to do. That will simplify everything. You will quickly realize that out here is way better than in here. Then from there, you can evolve into living from here. So get yourself a free taste of a present moment perspective. Why not? Help me out with the engagement. Yeah, real quick, just to speedy cap, let's explore what's behind our current mental health crisis that may surprise you. And it's from an esoteric perspective. Bottom line, adopt a present moment perspective. The mind fights and the heart loves. Learn to learn to exit the mind so that you can start living from the heart. Number 3 is, what did I say? I forget. Damn it. Darn it. Gosh darn it. Somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. Somewhere in here. Of course, it would be the last post-it note that I pull out of here. Self-care, of course. Duh. Number 1, adopt a present moment perspective. Number 2, decide where you want to live, the head or the heart. The head fights, the heart loves. Number 3, self-care is an inside job. Number 4 bonus was, did you know there's 2 trees in the Garden of Eden? And you have free will to choose which one of those trees you want to eat the fruit of. And if you're feeling pretty good right now about all that's being revealed, because, hey, it's right there. You know, I used to be a super big skeptic of the Bible and religion. Rightfully so, because there's a whole lot of corruption in the organization of it. It's manipulative. It's meant to control people. It's not meant to bring people closer to God. So of course there's going to be conflict. Growing up, I was raised Catholic, got baptized, did the confirmation, yada, yada, yada. And then I just said, you know what? No thanks. I had asked one too many questions of those authorities that were in power, like the priest. Well, why? But why? But why? The answer I got over and over was, because. Just shut up and do what we tell you. And that didn't work for me. So I left. I left like that. I was out of there. But I was jaded. I was young. I was against the drug war. I was against religion, very liberal, out in California, doing that whole sowing your oats thing. And I ended up going full circle. And I came back. And through a present moment perspective, I got a message from the divine that said, yo, you're missing the point. Don't be a fool. Don't be ignorant. Don't be unconscious. There's a reason that book has survived for thousands of years. That's the reason that I think it's the largest religion on the planet, Christianity. It's up there, right next to Islam. And then I think it's Buddhism is number 3, or Hinduism. I don't know. Anyway, it's up there. Why do you think that is? Why do you think for 2,000 plus years this stuff is hung on? Can you imagine a fad like whatever this year's fashion is, or this year's color is, or the number 1 Billboard, or the New York Times best-selling author? Can you imagine any of that stuff lasting 2,000 years? I don't think so. Heck, you're lucky to find a country that lasts more than 200 years. We're getting up there in age as a as a consistent country. Of course, there's some untruths in our history that need to be reviewed, like what happened in 1913 that led to the creation of the Federal Reserve and income tax. These are the kind of things that self-awareness will serve up for you. The truth, which can sometimes be, as Al Gore, who started this whole climate change nonsense, the inconvenient truth. The truth can often be inconvenient. Yes, it can. All right, let's hide that. I so appreciate you being on here. Apologies. Camera went out again. That's twice in one live. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to look into that. Anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. So super quick here. Mental health, right? I didn't show you a couple things that I had planned on showing you. So you already saw the 2 trees, right? That are up there. You can hide that now just in case somebody pops in here, like most people do on social media, and sees that picture and goes, oh, that must be a religious thing. I don't want anything to do with that, and scrolls away and misses the point. Don't be one of those people. Don't judge a book by its cover. Open that book up. Read the first page. Then maybe make a judgment. But even then, why? Judge not, lest ye be judged. Okay, let me show you a couple things here real quick that I didn't show you yet. That is my new spotting technique that leads to a present moment perspective. That's what I'm giving away to 3 lucky people that watch this video, and they play the game and they comment down below with a present, and then I reply with a moment, and they wrap it up with a reply of perspective. And then you get to experience what it's like to get outside of yourself. How would that feel to take a vacation from you? Or at least what you think is you. Would you enjoy that? Let me know down below. And lastly, but not, where's my statistic? There it is. Since we're talking about mental health, I think it's really important. All the time, every time. Because of that stuff. This is a mental health crisis right here. This is actually, look at over there. No, that way. Put the top. NHS, National Health. I don't know what the NHS. National Health. It's not society. Standards, maybe. National Health Standards, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, I am pretty sure it's a verified statistic that we need to freaking pay attention to as a society. I mean, look at those numbers. In 2022, in the short span of 1 year, young adults age 17 to 19, 1 in 4 had a probable mental disorder. That's up from the year before when it was 1 in 6. Now, I'm not a mathematical guy, or else I would tell you straight up the percentage difference between 1 in 4 and 1 in 6. But that's big. That's a Big spread right there. And before you get into, the science wasn't there, and yada, 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 and they're just diagnosing more people in 2022 than they diagnosed in 2021, or whatever excuse your mind comes up with, you cannot ignore these statistics. Mental health is a crisis in our country, in our society, and to a lesser extent, from my understanding and firsthand experience, the rest of the world, which makes me want to leave the United States and join the rest of the world. Italy would be just amazing, or the Caribbean. Africa would be fun too. I know my dollar would go a lot farther, for sure. All right, that's my statistics that I took the time to download, and by gosh darn it, I'm going to show you. I am going to show you my stats so you get the severity of this mental health crisis that we are facing as a nation. Where do you think the opioid epidemic came from? You think that was just simply a bunch of drug addicts wanting to get high? No, it was a whole bunch of people suffering from a misalignment and suffering from the affliction of being middle class, which is a horrible existence nowadays in our country. Just ask the 1%. Why do you think they're the 1%? Because they stole everything from the middle class. All right. Enough. Remember, nothing is at last sacred, but the integrity of your own mind. I am wrapping this bad boy up. Join me every Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Facebook and YouTube. Give me some love on YouTube. I would love that. Make sure to play the game to win one of 3 complimentary tastes of a present moment perspective. And since I mentioned YouTube, I'm going to have that same offer running on YouTube, even though this is Facebook that I'm on right now. Head over to YouTube and see if you can't win over there if you missed the opportunity here. Awesome. Yeah, I just mentioned that. I don't need to say that again. I'm going to delete that. That's my mailing list. And that's really important if you want to stay in touch with me and you like my flavor of, if you like my viewpoint on life, if it resonates with your viewpoint and adds value to your life, take the time to go to the foundfundiscoverymethod.com/inner circle. That same link is on my profile. Easy to find, no excuses. Get yourself on my mailing list. In the event that the world ends and Facebook goes down and all the rest of social media goes down, we will have that email list to stay in touch with. I trust that that will still be around. If everything else goes down, that will still be around. That's like phone numbers, right? We use it as communication now. So get on my mailing list. When you do, you're going to get all sorts of special extra things that I don't offer to the rest of my audience. Lastly, but not leastly. Is that how you say it? Last but not least, remember, the fastest way to get to where you want in life is with a guide who's been there before you. The fastest way you want to get, the fastest way to get to where you want in life is with a guide who has been there before you. Are you interested in the present moment and having a present moment perspective? I'm your guide. Until next Thursday, love y'all. Thank you.